Councilman Cooper.
Yeah, I'd like to echo the gratitude I just heard from Councilwoman Nice to Councilman Stonecipher for your service, Councilman Stone for your service, Councilwoman Hammond for your service, Dr. Benjamin, and Seth, anyone who served on that task force for the last 1.5 to 2 years, thank you. Because in some ways this also feels like the conclusion of one chapter in the beginning of the implementation conversation, especially should this pass, but I mean implementation of the other things. I want to say thank you again to anyone who served on Mayor Holt's law enforcement task force, which also took shape the same summer, and anyone who served on our community policing working group for my resolution that had 6 items on there. And I heard some of the items today from the people who spoke, and I come with you with what they used to call back in the day the good news, because 6 items in our resolution, one of those items was an alternative response to mental health calls. So for those of you who spoke about a concern regarding our city needing to invest in better access to mental health care, I come with good news. There will be, in fact, a mental health alternative. We've already committed of the $2 million that City Manager Freeman spoke about. We will have an alternative response to mental health calls to address the mental health crisis which exists in our city, quite frankly in our state, because remember, and I say this as a former middle school teacher, Oklahoma is #1 in trauma statistics. #1. We are #1. All 50 states, Oklahoma is #1 in adverse childhood experiences, meaning if you were to take a test of 1 to 10 items, did you experience domestic violence in your home, food insecurity in your home, sexual abuse, you name it. Once you get a score of 3 or higher on a scale of 1 to 10, I heard someone mention a test earlier, once you answer 3 or more on an ACE test, you are now set up as an adult, not just for mental health concerns, but physical health outcomes that are quite negative. That's true. Google right now, adverse childhood experiences in Oklahoma, and the data's right there. But the good news is, of those 6 resolution items, a mental health alternative is coming. And it's coming at the same time as 988 is rolling out. That's good news. One of the other items, hiring mental health workers and social workers to go out and respond to homelessness, building on what OKC PD had already set in motion with the homeless outreach team. But unfortunately for police, they had 2 to 4 officers to respond to homelessness for all 621 square miles. All 621 square miles of our home, only 2 to 4 officers, and I know them well by name, like Sergeant Felix Valadez. And they need backup, and that's what this street outreach team will be able to do. So that's just some of the good news. I mentioned and began with gratitude. I'd like to send gratitude across the void today to someone I've never met. But I heard a lot of words today about Christianity. So I'd like to send, if he can hear me, wherever it is, my grandpa Abner, who passed away before I was born, the son of European immigrants, a Pentecost preacher. He preached during the time of Jim Crow segregation. These are stories I've learned from my mother, but unfortunately I'll never get to talk to him about his faith. But his faith is why I am right here today, because at a time of Jim Crow segregation in Arkansas, in Texarkana, Arkansas, where my mother is from, he defied church leadership who told him that the races must sit separately together. You heard from a pastor earlier who's from Philadelphia. Philadelphia led the first sit-ins in this country, nonviolent, peaceful sit-ins, when Richard Allen, a preacher, was invited to a white church to come speak the word of God. But the white people in that church said, "Sir, You have to go sit up in the balcony, just like what's up there right now. They said black people had to go sit up there because you're not equal, and all the white folk will sit below. He said that's not right, and he prayed on it. This is Richard Allen, Google it, Philadelphia. And he left that church and created the AME church, to which that pastor sitting right behind you is the present day descendant of, and so is Rosa Parks. All of this is true, what I am saying. It's true. And my grandpa Abner's courage flows through me because honestly, y'all, some of the words I heard today made me shake too. I heard people say that. It made me shake. It's scary. And let me tell you why it's scary. I mentioned police earlier. 2 weeks ago, and for the people who are upset that I'm speaking at length, that's okay. That's okay. I listened for 2 hours to so many people speak. I listened, and now I'm asking you to listen to me as well. That's what a dialogue is. It's what I heard Sandino say earlier. We listen to one another. I heard a teacher speak. A teacher and a student, you go back and forth. You don't just authoritarian say the thing, you go back and forth. So my comments are based on what I heard you all say to me today, to this council. Please know that. Please also know I'm happy to sit for coffee with anyone. I have office hours Tuesdays and Thursdays. I've had them since I took office. I'm happy to sit and listen and talk. That's dialogue. It's back and forth. 2 weeks ago, I saw during Pride Month, OKC PD posted about 2 police officers who are openly LGBTQ. One of them serves in my ward. The comments were horrific because people were like, your sexuality doesn't matter. You're right. It doesn't matter. It shouldn't matter. I'm so proud of those officers who serve, not just the one in Ward 2, but the ones who serve with honor and integrity. I am proud of them. And it was horrific to watch the young woman have to sit. My God, here she was. She signed up to serve and protect our city. And in the comments, people said, I don't care what your sexuality is. Why does this matter? Why are you bringing it here? I mentioned this story to tell you that for some of the people today, and I've heard previously say, they don't know why the commission disbanded. The article in 1996, when it disbanded, the article in the Oklahoman was called City Council Abolishes HRC. And here was the quote from a council member. So I want to give you the exact reason, and I want you to hear that young police officer in your mind. Quote, this issue has come time and time again before the council, Foshi said. Quote, with the goal to give rights to the gays, the lesbians, the people who have had sexual changes, things of that nature. If the only way we can prevent it from coming back again and again is to do away with the commission, then that is what we need to do. That's why the commission disbanded. And here was the only other thing that's important from that article too. In that article, only five cases had come to that commission dealing with sexual orientation and gender identity. The rest were related to race. So this was like a boogeyman, a scapegoat. So that's why it disbanded. They would rather get rid of the commission than admit that a lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender person is a human being with access to constitutional rights. And speaking of constitutional rights, now keep that officer in your mind again. Keep that officer in your mind again. That was 2022. In 2003, until 2003, right here in the great state of Oklahoma, a state I am from and I love and honored to serve, it was illegal to be lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender. Literally illegal. It was illegal until the United States Supreme Court with Lawrence versus Texas, that case, Lawrence versus Texas, said they were protected with constitutional rights. They are Americans. We are humans. And that's why I sleep in my bedroom with the Constitution right beside my bed. And in that Constitution, so help me God, is also our Declaration of Independence. And also in there is the oath of office I took when I asked to take the oath on the Constitution and the Declaration. I asked to do that because I am an American. I am a man. I am gay. I am a teacher. I am a neighbor. I am someone who knows Ward 2 so well that I will defend it until my dying day, because it is for everyone. It is for the list that Hitler was against. The workers, the women, the peace activists, the dissidents, the Jews, the Slavs, the gypsies, the disabled, the Jehovah's Witnesses. These were the people that Hitler killed during Nazi Germany, when many of your parents and grandparents fought to defeat fascism and Nazis, because that's not the American way. This was the list, and this is the list I will always defend. I will always defend, like my grandfather, the least amongst us. That is who we are as Oklahomans. That is who we are as Americans. There has never been an LGBT person on this council until me, and that is why I am speaking the way I am about this topic right now. Ward 2 is for everyone, and OKC is for all of us, and we are united under this Constitution. I love everyone who spoke today. You might not believe me, but I love you. I love you, and we need more of that love, not this division. Please call my office. I will sit and I will talk to you about Ann Hutchinson. I will talk to you about William Jennings Bryan. I will talk to you about Bayard Rustin. I will listen to you talk to me about Christianity, Islam, Judaism, Buddhism, atheism, you name it. Let's have a go at it. But what I will not do is sit in silence. So thank you for your time right now. That is why I am supporting this, because I know that we can do better, and that's it. So thank you so much for your time.